The scale of destruction laid bare tonight. We are inside the towns cut off by Queensland's flood disaster and running out of supplies. Plus, Garry Youngberry meets the Mud Army heroes as communities begin accounting the cost of the crisis. A major blow for Donald Trump that could rule him out of the race to the White House. The hunt for a Grinch who stole a Queensland town's Christmas hams. We reveal the Southeast's most dangerous festive shopping car parks. Plus, new help for Queensland pet owners to pay costly vet bills.
This is 9 News Queensland.
Good evening. A mammoth recovery effort is right now underway across the state's far north, with dozens of communities left isolated just days out from Christmas. Tonight, 9 News takes you inside some of the hardest hit towns north of Cairns, where supplies are scarce, crucial roads are crumbling, and some families have been forced to leave everything behind.
With barely any possessions except for the clothes on their backs, men and women clutching children race towards their only lifeline. Filing one by one onto the waiting ADF helicopter after days stranded in Wudjil. They were flown to nearby Cooktown, where finally they're out of harm's way. These just some of the hundreds of evacuees from the remote Queensland community, rescued from roofs and flood-ravaged properties in a major military operation.
That really is the miracle of this event, an event so big, and as far as we know at this stage, no loss of life.
Flood marks on the ceiling revealing the extent of this emergency. Homes here swallowed by flood waters.
Lucky we got out of here.
This is the home of the town's Deputy Mayor, Regan Coulker. It's covered in a thick layer of brown sludge.
Look at all the bloody mud here.
All remaining residents who want to leave are expected to be safely evacuated tonight, but an elderly local is still missing.
Very concerned for his well-being, especially now that they've been able to access his property and can't find him.
35 communities in the state's far north remain cut off.
The key issues we still face in some of the remote communities is resupply of food, groceries, medicine, water.
The only way to send essentials north of Cairns is by boat.
When we told them we'll bring food up, they broke down in tears.
And this is why the normally picture-perfect 70-kilometre stretch of the Captain Cook Highway is littered with landslides.
Look at this. A mountain of rock here.
It could be weeks before the road's repaired, leaving holiday hotspot Port Douglas isolated and quickly running out of supplies. Supermarket shelves here are stripped bare. Bread, meat and vegetables are scarce. Similar scenes further north in Mossman, where the clean-up continues. Kevin Creeks lived in his Mossman Street home for 40 years. It was inundated earlier in the week. Most of his family's possessions have been destroyed.
We also had a signal leave for 3 days. No power, no water.
This is the road into Daintree Village and it's crumbling. Vehicles can still pass through here at the moment, but there are many more landslides like this across the region that will isolate communities for weeks.
The mudslide came down the hill at about 1 o'clock in the morning. It was very dark. It was very scary. My husband got swept away.
Haneda Burza and her 6-week-old baby Cooper were evacuated in a tinny.
It's scary when there's rain and the water's like coming up near your house and you've got a screaming baby.
They're back home at Wonga Beach, but still without power. Electricity crews are working as fast as they can.
We've got so many ergon crews on every corner, you lose count of them.
But there's still so much more work to be done. An anxious time for so many far north families facing Christmas separated from loved ones.
It's that community spirit that will get far north Queensland through.
And for more on the recovery effort right now underway in our state's far north, Abby Guerin joins us live from Mossman. Abby, it's all hands on deck there at the moment.
It is, Dom. I'm here at the local disaster management centre and the Douglas Shire Mayor Michael Kerr joins me now. Michael, thank you so much for your time. Fixing roads and restoring water supply, they're the two main priorities for you guys at the moment. What's the latest on that?
Well, at this stage we've now had the technical people in and they've done the assessments of the roads, so we know which roads need the repairs and we know where they are, that the blockages are, and now we're making the actions of plans to get those things fixed.
How long do you think this recovery will take?
You know, it's going to take a long time to get the full graft of work done. But we've got to remember, though, Port Douglas hasn't been touched. It is open. So if you've got plans to come here on holidays, make sure you keep them for Port Douglas while we do the work on the north of the Shire.
You said the economic impacts will be extensive?
Absolutely. You know, we've had a lot of businesses that have missed out on their Christmas trade, and we've been relying on this income. You know, we've been so hardly hit with COVID over the past couple of years. We've finally started to get things going, and this is now affecting us. You know, we really need these tourists to keep coming and keep supporting our businesses in the new year.
Absolutely. We hope that they will. Thank you so much for your time, Michael. Dom, more help is on the way. The Queensland Government has today established a flood appeal. They've kicked it off with a $1.5 million donation, but anyone who would like to help can go to the website on your screens and make a donation. The funds raised will be split between 5 charities who can get support on the ground here, to those who need it most right now.
Thank you, Abby. Yes, would be great to support everyone up there. Straight to Garry Youngberry now in Cairns. Gaz, you've been on the ground today in some of the hardest hit communities. What is the feeling there tonight?
Well, what I can tell you, Dom, less than a week ago, it was a feeling of relief as they waved goodbye to Tropical Cyclone Jasper. That relief turned to excitement for a moment as they counted down to the festive season, but now it's trauma as one of the largest and most severe weather events has smashed into far north Queensland, causing an incredible amount of damage. So bad, in fact, we headed to Holloways Beach today to check in on some of those residents, and this is what we found. In the worst of times, the best of Queenslanders is shining through.
Just some water. How much do you need, Dom?
At the Community Donation Hub in Holloways Beach, families who've lost everything able to find the essentials.
Anyone who needs any help and assistance, supplies, we've got it all here. There is quite a large number that are homeless, or they are staying in their homes and they're completely trashed. They've lost everything.
This little girl's just getting some clothes because all of her clothes were just wet.
Dan and Crystal's home was flooded too. They've left it behind to help others in need.
I feel like I'm doing something. Dan's the same. We've just got our own stuff at home, but we'd rather help the community. We feel like we can function better than dealing with our own homes.
At Kate Hammercott's home, the clean-up is just beginning.
Yeah, very overwhelmed. Big cleaning crew here this morning of mates. I don't personally know where to start, what to keep.
Kate and her 2 young sons fled rising floodwaters in their tinny on Sunday morning. Were you scared?
Tiny bit.
You were, yeah. Did you get a ride in the tinny here?
Yeah, saved a couple people and then we just tied it up to a tree and went to somewhere safe.
Who did you save?
An old woman and 2 kids and a blue-tongued lizard.
They've only just been able to return home. But like many families here, they'll be spending Christmas in temporary accommodation. Maybe Santa might bring some new toys, hopefully, for Christmas.
Maybe, if the storm's not coming.
Oh, the storm's not coming. I'm the weatherman and I can tell you the storm's not coming. It's gone.
It's been emotional. We've seen a lot of people who have been affected deeply from what we've experienced up here. But it's also been joyful in the fact we've got blokes like these fellas here, right, helping the community.
Chaplain Nigel Porter says the clean-up is just the start.
Very concerned for the mental health for these communities. As Australians, we tend to jump in and help our neighbours, and that's been a theme throughout everywhere I've been. But there's going to come a time when that impact of what they've actually gone through is going to weigh very heavily on their minds.
But while their town is in tatters, the community remains united as they help pick up the pieces. You're doing an incredible job, and then you've got to deal with your stuff yourself as well.
Oh, that's the easy part.
Yeah, we'll deal with that
we'll do
next
that
week.
Later.
Next
To-do
week.
list.
Next week.
Next week, John.
As you can see, these communities will take some time to get back to normal, but I wanted to reiterate, right here in Cairns, they are back in business. For everyone watching around Queensland, the country this evening, do not cancel your Christmas holidays, because right here in the marina, it's back to business. The tour operators are back out on the water, and anyone that's been to Cairns would know the famous Prawn Stars seafood on the marina is back in business. In fact, the reason why you don't want to cancel your holiday, because the forecast for the last week of December here in Cairns is looking better than southeast Queensland. Rain and thunderstorms on the way for Brizzy, maybe even your Chrissy Day and Boxing Day. I will have all those details, Dom, a little later in your full forecast.
Thank you, Garry. Great story. We'll see you soon. To other news now, 6 people have been rushed to hospital, including 3 children, after a horror head-on collision on the Bruce Highway around 11 o'clock this morning. Aerial footage showing the carnage from the crash, which occurred 60 kilometres south of Gladstone. Drivers have been asked to avoid the area. Police investigations are ongoing. A 27-year-old man has been charged after allegedly stealing an elderly woman's handbag at a Stafford shopping centre. Live now to Lily Greer at the scene of the crime. Lily, he didn't get far with it though.
Yeah, that's right, Dom. It was a staff member at a fruit shop here in Stafford who was here around 6:40 this morning getting the shop ready for trade when he heard terrifying screams coming from the entryway of this shopping centre. It was an 89-year-old woman on her way to a morning shop, we understand, and you'll be able to see in this security vision there is a man trailing behind her. Police say that is a 27-year-old who snatched her bag and fled, but he didn't make it too far. The fruit shop staff member and one of his colleagues chased the man down and actually convinced him to hand the bag back over. Police say this man, the 27-year-old, then fled to a nearby park where he was taken into custody without incident, as you'll be able to hear.
No, quite the opposite. He's lying down on his stomach, hands behind his back, awaiting to be arrested by us.
Appalling, you know. You're seeing more and more of it this day and age, which is very sad. She was a very elderly woman, you know, just come to do her shopping, and for her not even to be able to do that was just shocking.
Now, police tell us that 27-year-old man, he was charged with robbery with violence. As for that senior, we understand she was taken to hospital to be treated for some arm injuries.
Thank you, Lily. We hope she recovers well. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has all but confirmed Australia won't send a warship to the Middle East to help protect a vital trade route. Ships have come under increasing attack in the Red Sea following the Gaza conflict, and there are now fears food and fuel prices will rise.
Anthony Albanese confirming an old friendship with a new counterpart from across the ditch.
Our two countries are most effective when we work together.
New Zealand is committed to doing our share of the heavy lifting in the alliance.
But it's what both nations might do as part of a bigger alliance that's in hot debate.
From the beginning, we said that this is an international challenge. It requires collective and international action.
Militants from Yemen are causing major trade chaos in the Red Sea, one of the world's busiest shipping routes. With weapons and armed drones from Iran, the Houthis have already seized an Israeli-linked cargo ship and attacked several others. BP and cargo giant Maersk among companies to suspend sailing through the Suez Canal. The US quietly requesting Australia send a warship to help keep the sea lanes safe.
We've made no decision yet. We're working it through the normal processes.
That's the official line, when it appears a decision has in fact been made.
We know that the US understands the best way for Australia to support this is through diplomatic support.
In other words, Australia won't be sending a warship, signing instead a statement with 43 other nations condemning Houthi attacks that threaten the supply of food, fuel and humanitarian assistance.
Well, I've got news for the Prime Minister. Press releases don't shoot down drones, warships do.
One defence expert suggesting sophisticated Australian warships aren't properly equipped to counter drone attack.
Well, you've got a $1,000 drone against a $1 million missile, and they've got lots more drones.
The curious lack of clarity as to whether Australia will or won't send a warship suggests indecision or argument inside government. Either way, food and fuel prices are about to creep higher as shipping costs increase. Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
Australia's most notorious terrorist has spent his first day of freedom surrounded by loved ones at his home in Melbourne. Abdul Nasser Ben Brika was accused of plotting to blow up the MCG and Crown Casino in Melbourne, but his son says the Algerian-born cleric is a changed man.
A risk to the community, though? It's definitely not.
We've applied for the strongest possible order designed to keep our community safe.
This man will always be a threat to our society, and with all the conditions put on, it's not foolproof, unfortunately.
Those conditions include a curfew, ankle monitoring, internet and communication restrictions. Ben Brika left the Victorian prison late yesterday after 18 years behind bars. The race to the White House has taken a stunning turn, with Donald Trump booted off the ballot in Colorado after a court ruled he is ineligible to hold office. The decision is set to have a major impact on the 2024 election.
On the campaign trail at Christmas time,
a very Merry Christmas.
A show of support in Iowa as the former president received an unwanted gift from Colorado. The state's Supreme Court ruling Donald Trump ineligible for the White House because of his role in the January 6 attack on the Capitol.
Under the 14th Amendment's rarely used insurrection clause.
It's a Civil War-era amendment to keep Confederates out of government, used only a handful of times in 150 years.
We usually do not have presidents try to steal elections.
They say I'm a threat to democracy. No, Joe Biden is a threat to democracy.
Today's ruling is now paused for 14 days, lending time for an appeal and for the US Supreme Court to consider whether to uphold or overturn Colorado's decision.
The Supreme Court of the United States ought to affirm this decision.
From Trump's campaign, we have full confidence that the US Supreme Court will quickly rule in our favour and finally put an end to these un-American lawsuits. Today, another hurdle in what is a complicated road to the presidency for Donald Trump. But one thing in his favour, the polls. Trump leads President Joe Biden in almost every battleground state.
Crooked Joe Biden is a low IQ individual. He is truly the worst, most incompetent and most corrupt president in the history of our country.
But on election day, it's not the polls that do the talking, it's the people. And in Colorado, Donald Trump now faces the real possibility his name won't be on the ballot. In the United States, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
Ukraine's military is hoping to mobilise up to 500,000 more people to join the fight against Russia. President Volodymyr Zelensky revealed the request from his commanders in an end-of-year news conference, admitting it was a very sensitive issue. More than 150 people linked to billionaire offender Jeffrey Epstein are expected to be identified after a ruling from a New York judge. The names are part of documents from Australian Virginia Giuffre's lawsuit against Epstein's madame, Ghislaine Maxwell. Anyone on the list has until January 1st to appeal the decision. Caught on camera the moment a thief takes off with 1/2 tonne of ham from a southeast Queensland butchery. A mother and a baby in a terrifying near miss. At the end of sport, how you can avoid a car park prang this Christmas. And Woolies pulls a popular sweet from store shelves, leaving lolly lovers outraged. A whopping 87 people have been arrested on 250 charges by specialist police who have been targeting outlaw motorcycle gang members and their associates since March this year, catching some alleged criminals by surprise, while others can be seen on body-worn camera vision trying to avoid arrest.
You're under arrest, mate. Who's in the cupboard here?
Over the course of Operation Victor Albatross, police have executed dozens of search warrants and seized tens of thousands of dollars in cash and drugs, now in the evidence locker instead of on Queensland streets. A family-owned butcher is counting the cost of being robbed of 400 kilograms of meat, including Christmas hams. Police are investigating the bold heist.
There's hamming it up for the camera, and then there's this. A thief has just broken into this butcher's cold room, helping himself to leg after leg after leg of Christmas ham. He struggles with the weight of his stolen haul, but he's not done yet.
About 400 kilos of meat has been stolen, cartons of meat as well as full leg hams, 16 full leg hams.
Incredibly, he comes back, taking another load and then a third.
Probably estimating about $7,000 in total. Just made me feel sick to the stomach, and then watching the footage of the person committing the crime just made me feel even worse.
The crook makes a getaway just before Lisa's husband arrives to the Glasshouse Mountains business. Police now investigating the theft while Lisa keeps an eye online.
Gumtree and Marketplace to see if maybe something has been put up there. A domestic fridge is not going to hold all of this meat.
This is where the brazen burglar jimmied his way in, and while he may have cleared out most of the cool room, the Wagners say he hasn't completely robbed them of their Christmas cheer.
He's not going to stop us. We're going to fulfil all of our orders. I've even been reached out by other butchers who've asked if we need any help. Do we have enough stock? Can we get more hams? So it is very special.
Today they'll finish cooking the replacement Christmas hams.
I've been heartened by my customers.
Anna Rawlings, 9 News.
Iceland's government says the fiery scenes from a volcanic eruption outside of Grindavik do not present a threat to life. The small fishing town, already empty after weeks of earthquakes, sparked evacuations. The eruption also was predicted. Lava can be seen pouring in all directions from a crack stretching 3.5 kilometres long. A mother managed to pull her young daughter to safety seconds before the child was crushed by an out-of-control car in the UK. The 2-year-old child and female driver were taken to hospital with minor injuries after the terrifying incident near Birmingham. We all love our pets, but know a trip to the vet can set us back significantly. Tonight, the new payment plans for Queensland families to help keep their furry friends healthy and beat the cost of living crunch. That story ahead. E-scooter crackdown, the law changes which could grant police more power to curb bad behaviour. How aged care facilities stack up across the state. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos blasts back into the commercial space race, and Matilda star Mary Fowler, Queen of the Kids, during a childcare visit. E-scooter crackdown. Police could soon have the power to conduct random breath tests on riders if the state government moves to expand its RBT program. It's illegal to consume alcohol and ride any mobility device, but under current laws, police must place a person under arrest if they suspect they are under the influence. Billionaire Jeff Bezos has placed himself back in the space race with the successful launch of Blue Origin's space tourism rocket. Today's mission was unmanned but marked the milestone of liftoff for the first time after being grounded for more than a year.
And liftoff.
Blue Origin headed back to space and getting back in the race.
Loving that view back down on the clouds over West Texas.
15 months after this fiery failure, which left the company grounded amid an investigation, Jeff Bezos's space tourism vessel today marking mission success. No human on board the New Shepard 24, instead 33 payloads containing scientific research, along with 38,000 postcards.
Each postcard is returned to its creator stamped, flown in space.
Blue Origin's launch comes a month after Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket Starship exploded in the sky. It's a battle of the billionaires amid their race to produce the goods for NASA and put man back on the moon. Today's blast-off for Bezos marks the 9th time his rocket has entered space. It's reusable.
We've learned how to launch, land and repeat. We've been able to take these boosters and to fly them over and over again.
But when will people be back on board?
We look forward to flying our next crewed flight soon.
In the United States, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
6 Queensland aged care homes have been exposed after rating poorly on the government's star rating system. Merrimack Park Private Care was the state's lowest rated home at 1 star, meaning significant improvement is needed, while 5 facilities across the Darling Downs, Bribie Island, Mackay, Ingham and Logan River Valley rated 2 stars. Queensland also has 12 homes with the top rating of 5 stars, including Milton House, Brighton Health Campus and Bowder Care Centre. Tonight, a legend says farewell. Retiring artistic director of the Queensland Ballet, Lee Swing Sing, will take his final bow after 11 years in the role, following a performance of The Nutcracker.
I think the audience is going to be emotional. I certainly will be emotional, and I know the artists will be emotional. So it's going to be a very special night.
Queensland Ballet has announced Rockhampton raised Leanne Benjamin will take over the role, commencing early next year. Matilda star Mary Fowler is back in Australia to celebrate Christmas with her family. The 20-year-old is a poster girl for the sport and has sponsors knocking on her door. Today it was a kindergarten cashing in on the superstar.
It was a merry Christmas today for kids at a Sydney kindy. Mary Fowler dropping by as fame brings fortune to the Matilda star.
Did the phone start ringing after the success of the World Cup?
My agents, definitely.
Her latest deal, the poster girl for Rise and Shine kindergartens.
For me, off the field, my dream is to have kids one day and have a family. So, it's really nice to be able to work with them now.
Mary flew in last night from her base in England, and the headlines this morning were she was greeted by her Penrith Rugby League star Nathan Cleary. But the PR handler was prickly and protective.
Nathan was there to meet you last night at the airport. That's all good.
We can't ask that question.
So it was back to the game she loves. And next year's Olympics.
For me, a World Cup is one thing, but as a kid, it was always my dream to go to the Olympics.
If you're not convinced Mary's made the big time, well, she is second behind her superstar teammate Sam Kerr as the most Googled Australian in 2023.
And today she was cashing in with the kids.
Mary, are you a good cook?
But she is a good kick, and Mary will be back in action with Manchester City in 10 days.
Breathtaking!
After Christmas with her family and maybe a special guest. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
We love Mary. Secret headquarters. Telstra grants 9 News rare access to the team responsible for keeping Australia connected. A sunscreen recalled over fears it won't actually work. The new payment schemes helping manage pet bills. And a welcome update from Jimmy Barnes after his open heart surgery. Checking finance now, and the stock market closed higher. The All Ords up 48 points. Our dollar is buying 67 US cents. Checking fuel prices for average for unleaded petrol in Brisbane is $1.79. Diesel is $1.98. The average for unleaded on the Gold Coast is $1.78. The RACQ says Greater Brisbane is nearing the cheap phase of its unleaded price cycle. So fill up now if you find a service station selling regular unleaded for $1.72 or less per litre. Telstra has opened the doors to its high security operations headquarters in Melbourne for the first time in years. The company says its systems will help avoid a mass outage like the one competitor Optus had last month.
Hundreds of staff monitoring thousands of problems whenever they pop up. This, according to Telstra, is the secret control hub that goes into overdrive if any part of the network goes down.
Any production issues, any outages, you will see red, red, red on that screen.
But today the telco is publicly flexing its muscle over its biggest competitor, letting cameras have a look at the hidden facility in Melbourne, saying their problems are kept small here, and that Optus's massive nationwide outage last month that cost the CEO her job wouldn't be allowed to happen.
Every day we're doing what we call match fit exercises. That's wargaming should we lose a major part of the network or something we haven't seen before.
Even though almost everything we do is now wireless, it's still billions of cables and pieces of hardware that keep the telco going, and even a little damage can cause a big problem. And no surprise to customers, plenty of issues still make it through to those paying top dollar for service. According to the Telecommunications Ombudsman, Telstra received close to 27,000 complaints this year. That is down 35% on 2022, but the biggest issues for customers were a lack of action, fees, service and outages.
The only right number for Ombudsman complaints is 0.
But even with issues popping up, Telstra is flaunting its position as the country's biggest telco, saying the network is being kept safe here, day and night. Chris Kohler, 9 News.
2 popular sunscreens are being recalled tonight over fears they offer no sun protection at all. Some batches of Bondi Sands Mineral Zinc Sunscreen, 50 Plus Face Lotion and 50 Plus Body Lotion aren't mixed properly. Anyone who has the products with these batch numbers can return them for a full refund. Some good news tonight on the health of Aussie rock legend Jimmy Barnes. The singer revealing he'll be home in time for Christmas after undergoing open heart surgery just last week. The 67-year-old says he'll be discharged from hospital on Friday after being given the all clear by doctors. $1 million payday for an up-and-coming Heat star. Details next. The NBA superstar jumping on board the Lions bandwagon in the US. At the end of sport, lolly lovers outraged after an iconic sweet disappears from supermarket shelves. Plus, the worst car parks for collisions this Christmas.
And a very warm and humid evening here in Cairns. 27 degrees, but humidity 75%. Brisbane, not far away. You've got 26 degrees and 70% humidity, and a lot more heading for southeast Queensland.
One of our cricket greats fears the future of Test cricket may be under threat from cashed-up shorter forms of the game. It comes after Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins earned huge paydays, becoming the highest earners in Indian Premier League history.
This time last year, Spencer Johnson hadn't played a game in the Big Bash. Today, he woke up as one of the world's highest paid players, sold for $1.8 million in the IPL auction.
Never really thought I'd be in this situation. Mum and Dad back home were just, I don't think they can believe it when they put the number in and it spat out whatever it spat out.
That was dwarfed by the bags of cash thrown at Australia's frontline fast bowlers. Pat Cummins claiming $3.6 million.
I think we're going to have a lot of fun in this season and hopefully plenty of success.
Mitchell Starc, the highest payday in IPL history, $4.4 million.
I can't wait to get to Eden Gardens to experience the home fans, the home crowd and the atmosphere.
Watching from India ahead of her own match, his wife, Elisa Healy.
I was in the gym trying to do a gym session while the IPL auction was on the TV. Yeah, an amazing night for him and obviously justification for a lot of years of hard work.
It's reason to celebrate for Australia's stars, but there is a bigger picture. What does it all mean for the more traditional formats of the game?
I think Australia have got it right, but that pressure is going to be even greater in years to come. There's already talk about a second IPL. There's Dubai leagues, there's American leagues popping up everywhere.
Is there a threat to Test cricket?
Oh, no doubt. There's an ongoing threat to Test cricket. Domestic leagues around the world are getting bigger. There's getting more of them, and that obviously is going to put pressure on every nation.
Sam Jordan, 9 News.
Chris Lynn's Adelaide Strikers now possess one of the most potent batting lineups in the Big Bash. The destructive nature on full display in the thrilling Big Bash encounter against the Sydney Thunder. Set a daunting 200-run chase, the Strikers reached the victory target with 2 deliveries to spare, thanks to a late cameo from Adam Hose, who blasted 28 runs off just 9 balls. Ajla Tomljanovic feared she'd never make it back to the top of tennis after a serious knee injury sidelined her for months this year. Thankfully, an intense rehab regime has the Wimbledon quarterfinalist pain-free and aiming high for the Australian summer.
Aussie Ajla back home, healthy and in high spirits.
When I was boarding my flight to come to Sydney, I was just the happiest kid almost, because it's what I've been looking forward to since I've had surgery.
That surgery was on her knee. A painful cartilage injury last summer saw Tomljanovic pull out on the eve of both the United Cup and Australian Open, eventually sidelining her for more than 8 months.
There were times where I really, doubted a lot of things, and if I'll ever be able to come back and physically be able to do what I expect myself and what's just required to play at a high level.
The 30-year-old admits rehab was tough. She returned at the US Open in late August, slowly regaining form before winning a title at her most recent tournament in Brazil.
There's still a lot to improve on, especially my movement and things, but at the same time I feel like I can play a high level with what I've got. It just gets me excited, and hopefully that perspective can maybe help me turn around my bad juju from my Aussie summers these past few years.
Tomljanovic has made 3 Grand Slam quarterfinals and has high expectations for next year's majors, starting with the Australian Open.
I don't want to just repeat it. I want to go a step further. So the hunger is probably more there than ever.
Before that, she'll represent Australia at the United Cup beginning next Friday.
Playing United Cup is just something I really wanted to do last year, just because it's a team event with, you know, still tennis being an individual sport, and I really wanted to experience that.
Luke Dovesey, 9 News.
The tables have turned for Ironman champion Ali Day. He was once the up-and-comer, hot on the heels of legend Shannon Eckstein. Now, the 33-year-old is the one being hunted by young guns, admitting his time in the sport is drawing to a close.
I want to make every opportunity count. I'm going all in like I always have, and again, I just want to enjoy these last couple of years.
Day is equal first on the Nutrigrain ladder after winning round 1 and finishing second in round 2. Kathy Veal and Bridget Canham proved age is no obstacle, capturing the hearts of the nation when they finished the Sydney to Hobart on the stroke of the new year. The inspiring duo is back to conquer the great race again on board the smallest boat in the fleet.
They're a pair of pensioners who have formed a formidable partnership, but that wasn't always the case.
We weren't close friends particularly when we started this, but now we've spent so much time together and working well. We pretty much know what each other's going to say next.
At 71 and 63, Kathy Veal and Bridget Canham are back to tackle the Sydney to Hobart as the only all-female two-person crew.
Just because you get to a certain age doesn't mean your future is in the Bridge Club and the Bowls Club.
You can inspire people to reach their own goals. They don't have to do a Sydney to Hobart. Their own goal might be to own their own boat or learn how to sail.
Just imagine being out on this little yacht, out on the open ocean, battling the elements, treacherous seas, strong winds and the rain, not knowing when or if you'll eventually arrive in Hobart.
Someone said to me, there's no such thing as bad weather, there's just wrong clothing.
So I need a rain jacket.
You need a rain jacket.
Completing their maiden voyage south in front of a huge crowd just 18 minutes before the clock ticked over to 2023, this duo is determined to avoid finishing at the back of the fleet this year.
I want to be there to welcome the last boat in.
Zach Bailey.
See you later.
9 News.
Manchester City is one victory away from claiming one of the few trophies it hasn't won yet. The English champions are into the final of the Club World Cup in Saudi Arabia, winning their semi 3-0. In the League Cup quarter-finals, Chelsea defeated Newcastle on penalties, while Fulham also needed a shootout to beat Everton. Lion star Josh Dunkley has enjoyed front row seats to a Steph Curry masterclass. Dunkley, a special guest pre-game, exchanging jumpers with the NBA great, and he proved a lucky charm as the Warriors upset Boston.
Pocket three, Curry three.
Memphis star Ja Morant made a memorable return from a 25-game suspension with his buzzer beater, completing a 24-point comeback win over the Pelicans. In other news now, Christmas is just days away and car park prangs are at their highest as shoppers rush to get last-minute presents. New data from Amy today revealing the state's worst car parks.
So for Queensland, we're actually seeing a new top 1 hotspot, which was the Maroochydore Sunshine Plaza, followed closely by Indooroopilly and here at Carindale.
With the festive season seeing car park wait times peaking at 30 minutes, drivers are being reminded to slow down and stay cautious. Jaffas are a family favourite, but now the orange-flavoured treat has been quietly removed from the shelves of Woolworths supermarkets across the country. It comes after another Aussie classic, Fantails, was discontinued in June. For those lolly lovers, you can still buy the bite-sized balls at other supermarkets and Big W. In just 3 minutes, the new payment plans at your local vet to beat the cost of living crisis, how it's helping Aussies ensure their furry friends are receiving the care they need. That story is next. Garry is back now with the weather. Garry, has the rain eased in far north Queensland?
Oh, it certainly has, Dom. Thankfully, far north Queensland got a chance to dry out today. There were some moderate falls up around the Cape York Peninsula, but mostly fine between Cooktown and Cairns. Different story for southeast Queensland, a little bit on the Brisbane radar. We'll take a look with your full forecast up next.
As households continue to tighten the budget, it's often the most vulnerable member of the family who misses out on the vital care they need. Vets now reporting a huge spike in the use of payment plans to help meet the high cost of keeping pets.
Pets are priceless, but vet bills are not.
Me being on a pension, a lot of it has just been fairly unreachable.
Hannah Wilson has had Rebel for 8 years. Over that time, spending thousands of dollars on her health care. So her vet's decision to use Afterpay has been a lifesaver.
It's been absolutely incredible. I probably wouldn't be able to keep my cat if I didn't have the access to the Afterpay.
We understand that the rising cost of living is placing pressure on pet owners. We've certainly seen that here.
Without financial help, the choices for pet owners can be limited.
It's not the ideal outcome would be euthanasia.
The RSPCA, a last resort option when animals become too expensive.
Ultimately, if it comes to it and you do need to surrender your pet, we are here. The last thing we want is animals abandoned or dumped.
This clinic only began offering Afterpay 4 weeks ago, but already 10% of pet owners are using the service.
We're finding it's commonly used for things like vaccinations, so routine healthcare as well. And we're also finding that some of our clients, once they see Afterpay's offered, they're choosing to use it rather than dip into their savings.
There are options out there for you to be able to keep your pet.
Anything we can offer that helps them take their fur baby home is good news for everyone.
April Cretan, 9 News.
Garry Youngberry is back now with our full weather forecast. Gaz, are we expecting some storms this evening here in the southeast?
Well, Dom, there's just been an updated severe thunderstorm warning for parts of the southeast coast. It includes the Darling Downs and the Granite Belt. They are mainly west of Brisbane and they do show up quite well on the radar. Let's take a look at it from earlier this afternoon. They fired up for the Southern Downs and the Darling Downs, heading eastward slowly. At the moment, Gympie down to Kilcoy, there's an area of storms, also in the scenic rim around Boonah, but they've weakened around Brisbane and nothing more than just a few drizzle patches in the city. Let's have a look at temperatures today across southeast Queensland. A warm start to Wednesday quickly turned into a hot and humid day. Temperatures well above the December average. The Golden Sunshine Coast hit 30 along with the Bayside suburbs. The city 31, Ipswich, Beaudesert and Gatton 32. Gympie hit 34 today. The weather map, heavy showers, storms, gusty winds across Western Australia, the top end, down through the interior, Queensland and New South Wales, while some strong southerly winds along the New South Wales coast. Interstate, we're looking at a scorcher in Perth, 37, fine in Adelaide and Melbourne with low 20s, Hobart cloudy and 18, wet and windy for Sydney. Queensland, there is the chance of a shower in Cairns only. Definitely nice and dry today. Mostly sunny in Townsville and Mackay, low 30s. Scattered showers across the Capricornia with a chance of storms. The Wide Bay and Burnett expecting afternoon thunderstorms. Hot inland, 39 for Mount Isa. Storms definitely firing up though through Roma and the Maranoa. Southeast Queensland, cloudy day tomorrow, showers developing and not only thunderstorms but potentially severe. Keep an eye to the west for the afternoon. Warm overnight temperatures while daytime highs restricted to, well, high 20s, but it will feel a lot warmer with the humidity. Moreton Bay, northeasterlies, tending east-northeast, 10 to 15 knots. Brisbane, some cloud about, showers developing, potentially severe storms down to 21 overnight, a top of just 28. Definitely one of the cooler days this week. 7-day outlook, well, Friday, cloudy, scattered showers and storms. Saturday, afternoon showers and storms. Sunday, afternoon showers and storms. Preparing for further showers and storms for Chrissy Day and Boxing Day at this stage. Ipswich, cloudy Friday, scattered showers and storms. Hot and humid afternoon showers and storms for Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. For the Gold Coast, cloudy Friday, widespread showers and possible thunderstorms. A shower or two Saturday and Sunday with an afternoon storm. Showers increasing on Christmas Day and Boxing Day with more thunderstorms likely. The Sunshine Coast, cloudy and wet Friday, possible storms. Scattered showers over the weekend with a chance of storms again. Showers and thunderstorms are likely though over Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Lots of humidity. The temperatures will feel a lot warmer across southeast Queensland and it may be just a little damp for the Chrissy Day. Make sure you get out nice and early on Chrissy Day.
We'll do. Great advice. Thank you, Garry. Well, that is 9 News Queensland for this evening. Dominique Clancy is next with the current affair. Thank you for your company. From all of us, have a great night.